I'm going to record and record. Showing. And yes, I'm freezing, so I'm wearing a blanket coat. Welcome, welcome. I am wearing normal teacher clothes, but I actually have a little space heater in my room because it's cold. If Caden was here, he'll get here. All right, you guys, as you come in, please get on that whiteboard. I already see Carly and Catherine. I kind of want to go through some topics to see which topics you guys feel that you need the most work on. Also make you aware of some of your resources that are out there, especially as we start in first semester and start second semester. We're going to start using that College Board website more. No, Mr. Chin, we do not talk like that. So I have a frog drawing. And Catherine, I'm not sure what that is. A bearded person. That's all right, you guys, get on those whiteboards. Have you tell me, oh, just accidentally made it fill my screen, which is not what I want. It's been such a pain today. I'm gonna get off of here. Everybody in first. Welcome, welcome. It is time. I could get my screen to let me see two of them at once. There we go. Instead of going to. Welcome. As you get on here, if you guys get on the whiteboard so I can ask you some questions and get some feedback, prepping for next week's reviews. And I want to clarify because I misspoke about your final. I confused my anatomy final question numbers with my what I do for APES. So I'm going to press record right now on this one too. Did I already do that? Looks like it is. All right, so first of all, your final, which will be, which is posted as far as the schedules and stuff through Parent Square, as well as emails, as well as on Google Classroom. But they're basically during the same time periods that we're always in class live. Just certain days are dedicated to certain class periods being their quote final. We are going to use our College Board website. So I pulled questions from that resource for your test. And it is 80 questions, just like a regular APES exam. And for you to get 100% on Skyward, you have to get half of them correct. So what I like to do at first semester is for you to start getting used to the timing and the type of questions you're going to see. Yes, my little sprout. And that I'm tired, so I put the little things over my tired face. Anyways, so that you guys can start feeling how long it takes you to take one of these kinds of tests, at least the multiple choice part, because we practice the free response parts all year long. So we don't do that for our final, but we will do the multiple choice part. And again, I also want you to feel the sensation that you might be getting almost every other one wrong and still pass, because that is how these tests are written. They're written at a college level to try to figure out what you actually truly know. And then they make a curve, a bell curve, and they chop it so that they can know who gets 5s, who gets 4s, who gets 3s. So I want you to not panic when you do the real test in May and say, oh, I don't know this one. Oh, I don't know this one. Yeah, you aren't going to know all of them. And so the answers to all of them. So we're going to practice that. And I'm going to say it one more time. There will be 80 multiple choice questions. How many of those 80 do you have to get right to get 100% on Skyward on your final? On your whiteboards or in the chat box? Yes, you have to get half of them. Okay, excellent, good. So let's talk about real quickly here what is actually on what topics are on the test, and where are some resources for you guys. So everybody needs to be on that whiteboard. I see Ashley, Brianna, Chin, Drake, Jagger, Caden, Carly, Catherine, Lobsang, Maggie, Mason, Saisha, and Tegan are all on here. I need the rest of you to get on there. Whiteboard link is right on the stream page. It's also hyperlinked to your week at a glance. Scroll down to the day one. I didn't repost everything. It's right on your stream page. At least it should be. Yes, it is. I can see it. And what I'm going to do is take you to one of your resources that we're going to be using, unless it's really glitchy. We'll see. Because every school seems to be different in what they report about the College Board website. All right. So I'm going to switch over to the College Board website. It looks like it's off on my tab. So get back on it. I have a long route to getting to it. Just a second. Where is it? Too many of these. As I'm getting over to this site, if you could rename yourself with your composting slide number at the beginning of your name. I'm just looking for my little acorn. There's my little acorn. Acorns are what we call first-year teachers when they do the national grading. And acorns also, they're temporarily not available. Oh my goodness. See, this is why I don't like College Board website. Woohoo! Okay, so we are going to go back. That did not happen last period. But Clever would work last period in our portal. So let's try moving then to our composting group so you get a chance to talk with your group, and then hopefully by the time you guys share with each other, then we can come back to the College Board and talk about the videos that they have there, and I could show you an example and kind of how to navigate some of that. What I'm going to be asking you to do when you're taking your test, I think I thought more about this after talking with first period. I was going to put a time limit on your test that was double what you would normally get, because what I want you to do is time yourself and know how long does it take you to do those 80 questions. But I don't want you to actually get kicked off of there, because getting you back on, I know, is a problem from a lot of other teachers that use the website, because I want to know what you actually know. So I don't want you kicked off of there and then it ends your test and you only got half of them answered. So what I'm going to have you do is, I'm not going to put a time limit on it, but I want you to time yourself so that you're getting some practice and that you start knowing how long does it take me to get through 80 multiple choice. Because if you get stuck on a couple of them and you sit there and keep thinking about it and keep looking up an answer, you will run out of time. Okay, so you just cannot do those kind of things. And I don't know yet if you'll be doing this test online this year or if you'll be coming into the school to take it. Most likely, according to what I can see, because I just got a notice from Kaiser about getting vaccinated, which is awesome. January 23rd, I get to sign up for my appointment. I think we'll be in person and you'll be taking your test, okay, at the school. So we need to start getting the timing down on some of this. So yes, we are going to start using the College Board site for things second semester and for your final. Yeah, they have all sorts of FRQs, but we're not going to do FRQs as your final. We're going to do just the multiple choice part, because we do FRQs all the time, and you're going to do 2 of those tomorrow. That was the one part of your guys' test last year that they all felt very comfortable with, and we got pretty lucky because the whole entire test was FRQs. And no multiple choice. Although freshmen usually do better on the multiple choice because they tend to know their stuff, but they don't necessarily like to write and answer prompts because that takes some practice in high school. All right. Okay, thank you, Carly. Yes, your whole final. So I'm going to ask, yeah, any other questions? Your whole final will be multiple choice. Your final is not a separate part of your grade. You have to get 40 of the 80 right to get a 40 out of 40 put in Skyward. I'm just reading your. Correct. My get normal. Okay, so normal AP tests, you come into the school usually in the morning, and it's very, very strict and rigid exactly how we deliver the test and how you report to the test and what you're allowed to do and where we seat you. And then you unwrap this official test and you are timed and you take it in 2 parts. So you do a multiple choice part, you get a little break, and then you do your 3 free response questions. Historically, my students have gotten done with the multiple choice rather quickly and still even had extra time. But on the FRQ part, some of you would get caught up in like the second question and then run out of time and not having the timing right because you're trying to put too much into 1 or 2 or 3 and then you don't time. So we work a lot on both parts, but we so far have not practiced much for a full scale multiple choice. So I always do that first semester at least once, which is right now. Any other questions? You don't have to memorize anything. You just got to get used to doing multiple choice and free response questions. If you're at the school, which I think you will be, you won't have access to the internet. You won't have access to your notes this year. You'll have access to your brain. $40 out of 80. And then it will be 40 out of 40 in Skyward. So if you got a 30, you'd do 30 out of 40. Caden has access to his brain. Good. Any other questions in regards to your final? And we're going to review all next week and do some games. And your final right now will be kind of like it was last spring for freshmen and APES kids, was that it was all open note. It was an open device because they do have ways to know if you're clicking and going to other sites. If you're not aware of that software, you should become aware because then you can get your test canceled. But you are allowed to have organized notes, right? And be able to reference those last year. My guess, though, is with how fast vaccinations are coming out to us right now, that we will be back and in May, you will be actually taking it the old fashioned way, which is at a table with pencil and paper. I hope they switch over to computers because grading those with computers that you guys had typed instead of having to read your handwriting was awesome. I'm hoping that part completely gets switched because that is like the biggest struggle of sitting there and trying to read thousands of students' handwriting. So my guess is they liked that and we'll switch that part to where you can type your answers for the free response questions. All right, so any other questions about your final coming up at first semester? Yes, we will start it during class. And that way I can help if there's any issues with access or problems like that. But I will not end it during class. So I will not say, okay, now you're done and you don't have access to it anymore. Okay. I don't want you limited or getting shut out from the test if you need more time. It's not next week, it's a week after, I believe. Next week is review dead week. Yes, your test that I'm giving you is open notes. I am just warning you that unlike last spring, if you hear from any other students who took the test last year during the pandemic, I don't think it's going to be like that this year. I think it's going to be back to normal in May in terms of you will not get to use your notes. I would still have them organized and ready though. All right, any other questions before we switch gears? All right, I'm going to put you into the compost groups for about 10, 15 minutes so that you can share observations, share discussions, and make sure that you've gone through your comments and made corrections. We will start your final during the assigned final time, which is during a Zoom day, not next week, but the week after. Final week, I think final scheduled, I don't have it taped up right here, but it's, I want to say the 26th, 27th, and 28th. I think it goes Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, but I'm not sure. It might be Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. I don't remember. Somebody can look on Parent Square. And no, your final is not a separate part of your grade. It is all in the same assessment category as all the other tests we've been doing. All right, any other questions? No, I'm going to get you started. You could finish it if you wanted within that Zoom period, but I am not going to limit you to that. I am just going to start it then so that if there's any issues or problems, we can deal with it with shared screens right then. I'm not setting a time limit on it. I am asking you to set your own timers and see how long it takes you to do 80 multiple choice. And I'm telling you to try to do it quickly so that you know and can adjust during May when you do the real thing. You normally would have 80 minutes. I'll have to look that up, forget, because they've taken it from 100 down to 80 some questions now. I believe you have about 80 to 90 minutes normally. Okay. Any other questions besides some random comments about strawberries and flies? Okay. All right, I'm going to get you guys into groups, and then I'll also try to see if the College Board website decides to work again or not. So again, when you get into your breakout rooms, make sure you're sharing your observations and what you found out so far about your composting setups, and update any corrections that you haven't already done. Ashley, Helena, Tegan, and Kale, you guys are in that first room. Quinn, Sophia, who else is 23? I'll get the rest of you in room 2. Ambert, Avery, Joseph, Carly, room 3. Evan, Mason, Caden, Selena, room 4. Room 5, Brianna, Emily, Maggie, and you guys moved. Maggie. Room 6, I'm going to put Jenna, Corbin, Jagger, and Madeline. If I have to move some of you, that's fine. Room 7, Catherine, Saisha. I know there's more than you two in a group, so we'll have to figure that out here in a second. Room 8, Chin, Jean, and Dominic. I'm going to open your rooms. If I haven't put you in one, I will fix that. Joey, need me to put you to 26? Okay, let's see. So Joseph, you are supposed to be with team 26, which is room what? I don't see a 26. Okay, I'm gonna put you, it looks like you guys don't have a room yet. So I'll put you in room 9. Room 9. All right, Wolf, you're 24, you're room 3. Lob Singh, you're in room 3. Right, Owen, okay, Drake, you're number 23, you're in room 2. Owen, where are you supposed to be? Owen, are you there? Can you hear my voice?
Yeah, I just typed in the chat, but I'm with Sophia, Drake, and Quinn.
Sophia, Drake, and Quinn. Okay, Sophia, Drake, and Quinn is room 2.
Okay. Thanks.
Should be open. Okay. Your chat request is, oh my God. College Board, you guys got problems. I'm a little worried. Hello, how's this group doing? It looks like black boxes and no talking. You guys know I am gonna get to see you face to face here soon, right? Okay, good. There's
Well,
Sophia.
it's just me and all the other black boxes. It's scary.
Okay, there's Drake. Good, you're alive. Do you guys have any questions? I did a workaround on the College Board and finally got into it through a different link I have. But do you guys have any questions on your composting document? Because you're going to have about 5-10 minutes. Quinn, Owen, any questions?
Oh, nothing much from me.
No? Quinn? Is Quinn there? Quinn, go for coffee.
He said something in the chat with us. Oh.
Mic's not working. Okay. Alrighty, guys. So make sure that you've read through all those comments that I put on those, because I believe this Sunday is another composting check. I'd have to look at all the dates, but I'm going to be checking that you all show up on the edit history again and that you've addressed some of those corrections. Okay. Let me know if you guys have any questions. I can pop back in here. All right. Go to room 3. Oh, good. How is this group doing?
I think generally pretty fine. We've gone through and fixed all of the comments, I'm pretty sure.
Okay. And how many of you have your composting systems up and running and observations to put onto a chart?
I got mine.
I'm pretty sure mine is up and running. Are we making observations on plants that we're giving the compost to, or just on the compost?
Just on the compost. So 1 a week until we get at 10. And then we'll start switching over to more of the plant and growing studies.
Also, for the documents we have for observing it, do we each have our own, or do we all put it on one document?
You each are sharing your pictures onto one document. So I should see you show up in the edit history and how you contributed, but you're using one big chart that you guys are organizing. Your techie should be helping you guys organize and make one chart that links to your Google Doc. So I could just click on it and then look at what you're doing each time you submit something.
Would you prefer a Google spreadsheet or a doc?
Oh, probably a spreadsheet, but that's completely up to you guys. Some people even like to do Google Slides because then they can kind of put pictures in there and talk about them, but it's up to your team.
All right.
Lob saying you there?
Yep.
Okay, Amber?
Yeah.
And Avery?
Yep.
Okay. All right. I will, if you have any questions, let me know and I will come back in here.
Oh. Hi. What are we supposed to be doing during this time?
You are supposed to make sure that your group has addressed all the comments and corrections and that you're each sharing whatever observations you have so far on your composting. So you're putting pictures and sharing how your composting is actually going.
Okay, so we're just basically touching base.
Exactly.
Okay, thank you.
We'll be back if you have any more questions. Right, welcome back. Welcome back, welcome back. As you guys come back, please make sure you're on that whiteboard. I'm gonna use that today to kind of communicate and collect what topics you're struggling with and what ones you're not. You should be able to see my College Board, my classroom. So going directly into my classroom worked. I think it's just the overall bigger College Board site. I'm sure teachers from all around the nation are trying to get finals right now. So it's crashing, but I can still get on our individual site. So you could make sure you can see my screen. I'm on what's called Unit 1 in AP Classroom. And I'm gonna just talk about topics. So as everybody gets back in here, what I want you to pay attention to is there a topic here that you feel you're struggling with more than another? And if, so out of these 9 choices, let me see how many choices there are, 11 choices, I just wanna know which one of these you would like to see more review on next week, okay? So is everybody paying attention and looking at their screen right now? Yes? Just want to make sure everyone's ready for this next part and doesn't get lost. Everybody has their whiteboard so you can record for me which topic they are struggling with. Ooh, there's a ton of chat. I need to get to the most latest location. Okay, so Unit 1, and also keep in mind that when I talk about Unit 1 or the order of these, they are not going to match your textbook. So this is not corresponding to the same things that are in your textbook, just the same topics. So Unit 1 has Introduction to Ecosystems, Terrestrial Biomes, Aquatic Biomes, the Carbon Cycle, the Nitrogen Cycle, the Phosphorus Cycle, the Water Cycle, Primary Productivity, trophic levels, energy flow and 10% rule, food chains and food webs. Those are all topics we went over first semester. So if they're, and you can see that this is a brand new feature this year that the College Board is giving because of remote learning. They're giving you these little daily videos. They are a little boring. That is why I give you ones through Crash Course and Bozeman and a few others that are a little bit more engaging on the same topics. But I want you to be aware that these exist, and I'm going to play part of one today again. So if there is something you feel out of these topics that you are struggling the most with, write that on your whiteboard and leave it on there, because I'm going to capture it here after I go through all the different topics we've covered so far this year. So again, it's ecosystems, terrestrial biomes, aquatic biomes, carbon cycle, nitrogen cycle, phosphorus cycle, water cycle, primary productivity, trophic levels, energy flow and 10% rule, food chains and food webs. Caden's telling me he doesn't have a thermometer. Wait, I just saw it. It was like blue. Oh, that's a scoop. Never mind. There are Blue River ones. pH. Was it in the second kit? Razzles. Interesting. Well, I'll have to check because I'm pretty sure all your thermometers are missing from the drawers, so I gave them to somebody. You can get the second kit anytime in the next 2 weeks, whenever that front school window is open. It has stuff for people who want to make up some lab points before the end of semester. If you don't get it in the next 2 weeks, then it'll be available to you for second semester at some time that the school decides, that I don't decide again. I think they're going to do another one of those grand pickups. We're all kind of waiting because we're all getting notifications that we get to get vaccinated. So not through the school, but through our own healthcare providers. So latest time you can go get it. Well, if you want to use it to make up points, probably within the next 2 weeks. If you want it to impact your grade and use some of the supplies before my grades are due at the end of January. And yes, if you're talking about the actual time of day, I believe it's from like 8:45 to 3:30. All right, so I see a few of you have written. I see anything from aquatic biomes, primary productivity, nitrogen cycle. I haven't seen one single one of you guys put the same thing yet. Okay, so I still have a couple blank whiteboards from people. We are going to move on just so I have a list of these, and we still have time to do our game that reviews chapter 5. Yes, during school hours. Yes, correct. That window is open during school hours to the right. I think to the left is only open for 2 hours, which is your textbooks and your Chromebook issues. To the right is just the general school and office when you go to the entrance. All right, so there's unit 1. I'm moving to unit 2. It's going to get a little trickier here because it's not going to always match up with everything that we do in the order of our book. So we've done Introduction to Biodiversity. The only thing in unit 2, we've done a little bit of ecosystem services, and we've done a little bit of ecological tolerance. And we're starting adaptations. We have not done these other 2, which is when you have a disruption like a fire, or invasive species, whenever you have disruptions to ecosystems. So are any of those, again, biodiversity, adaptations, those are kind of the only 2. You can see there's little arrows by them. Which one of those are you struggling with? I'm on AP Classroom, College Board Classroom. I'm not sure if it probably doesn't look exactly like this to you because you can only see the ones that I assign and make visible. My guess, you guys usually know biodiversity and adaptations pretty well. So I want to move to the more challenging one here, unit 3. Unit 3 is all about our next 2 chapters. So none of this will be on your final. And you can see that there's no little check marks yet. But unit 4, we have done. So Earth's atmosphere, global wind patterns, solar radiation and Earth's seasons, Earth's geography and climate, El Nino and La Nina. So out of those on your whiteboards, where are we struggling? So I'm going to go through those again. We haven't done plate tectonics yet or soil formation. So it starts at number 4. Earth's atmosphere, those are knowing those different layers and what's going on in each layer. Those global wind patterns, I know last period that was one of their biggies that I captured on their whiteboards. We haven't done watersheds, it's a whole different chapter in our book later on. Solar radiation and Earth seasons, we've definitely done that. Earth's geography and climate, knowing about those climatograms, knowing where the different biomes are and why they're there. And then El Nino and La Nina. So on your whiteboard, if any of those are topics you are struggling on, which one are you struggling with the most? Go ahead and write that on there so I can capture all of those. Starts with that. Brianna, correct. Selena said she's finding a thermometer. Okay, so they should be glass or a blue river one. Like there's some that have blue casings and they're for rivers so that if you bounce them against a rock, they don't break. But most of the ones that I passed out that I could have swore I put in there were long glass ones. Good, good, it's good. Kaden, you're developing a filter. I'm glad. That's something, you know, your frontal lobe until you're about 25, sometimes we don't do well. All right, I'm just waiting for a couple more of you to write stuff on your whiteboard. It looks like I see a couple La Ninas or El Ninos, La Nina, wind patterns. Okay, so again, before we play our game, I just want to show you an example of what these are like and remind you that even though I didn't assign it on Book Creator, a big part of knowing your biomes is knowing human impacts. So when you click on these daily videos, they will have sections, and if you hover over them, let me see if I can, I don't want to make this huge, but if you hover over them, they will tell you what the topics are. And the third one of aquatic biomes is on human impact. And like some of you probably already know, they're a little dry.
Welcome, environmental science students. Mr. Skolton here. Thank you for again joining me for this AP Daily video as we conclude and wrap up our aquatic biomes with our third and final video. So if you've been watching up till now, we've looked at freshwater biomes, saltwater or marine biomes. And once again, if we were just talking about ecology, we would end there. We would end with identifying biomes, what kind of plants, what kind of animals would be there. But again, because
I have not seen that function where you, I mean, I have seen that function where you could speed it up, right? 1.5 to, this doesn't have that. But what's nice about this is they do go through your FRQs in detail. And that's what this one does with the Florida Everglades one that you have already done with in class. But it kind of walks through that, describe, identify, and how you earn points and why all these other points are also valid. Okay, so just so you know, that's a resource that just came out this year. Is these smaller chunks of information. And if you're struggling with a particular topic, you can always come and watch one of these. They just are kind of lectures. They're not meant to engage you or entertain you or get it to stick in your head. All right, so, well, they probably think they are geared towards sticking in your head. So we're gonna go play a Kahoot game based on chapter 5 learning targets. So you should be able to see the evolution of biodiversity, which is the name of our chapter. We're gonna see how we're doing because next week you have your practice exam for just chapter 5. And we're also gonna mess around with College Board quizzes if it works. All right, can everyone see getting ready to join? And the loading is 1116535. Oh, and with Kahoots, I normally take and put pictures for studying on them. So before you randomly answer, if you don't know it, read the screen. The screen will have a picture or a video that will help you with the topic. So as I start to post more of the Kahoots for my reviews for tests and for exams, they're meant as study information. So if it's too laggy for you, just put your answers on the whiteboard. I have both up right now, so I can see all your whiteboards as well as your Kahoot answers. So Dominic's just telling us why he might not beat all of you guys, so that's okay. Right, I see 24 of you. We'll get started in 5 seconds. All right, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Let's get started. Remember, on Kahoot, you can always add yourself later, or if you get kicked off, you can join in at any time. And the number is always, I think, at the top right or bottom right. I don't remember. Scientists guesstimate that there are approximately how many millions of species on Earth? And then I always have some sort of little study slide there. And that's just showing you which groups are the biggest percentage of the species that are described on Earth. And it shouldn't be a surprise that bugs are a big part, especially beetles. Okay. I like walking sticks. Joe is Joseph. Jack, maybe? All right, so richness and evenness. This is kind of our second time because we did a lab on it, and now this chapter has it in it as well. Make sure you're getting the hang of the difference. Evenness is how many of each species you're counting, right? Richness is just counting. How many different ones do I have total? So do I have 10 species living in an area? Do I have 2? That's nothing necessarily to do with there might be 90 of one kind and 2 of another kind. That doesn't necessarily tell me about my health of my ecosystem. So you have to look at both. Dominic likes quizzes. You guys seem to have less lagging issues with quizzes. But Kahoots let me put in more images and videos. I think I have the paid version. I don't think I have a paid version of quizzes. That's true too. Yeah, you don't have to keep track of it. This is a kind of the type of typical question you'd see on College Board where you have a diagram and you have to interpret it. That is the direction they're moving and why I want you to see what the College Board questions look like before May. So hopefully all of the College Board links will work next week and we can start using some of their quiz questions for you to practice before we take the final. This concept explains why there are multiple species of primates. I also forgot to mention that while I was messing around on the College Board website, I found what are called faculty lectures. And there's a really interesting but slow one about gorillas and how gorillas are used for some biodiversity studies that I made visible to you. And the lady who gives it is what is called our chief reader when we're scoring your exams. And it's interesting, but it's very, very slow. She talks like this. So although it's interesting, I will tell you it feels very long. Right, this is just knowing your basic vocab. What is genotype? What is phenotype? So genotype are your type of genes, everything that both sets of parents give you, all those alleles. Phenotype are just your physical traits. What do you actually express? So what's dominant, right? What is actually made into a trait? A random change in your genetic code is called this. Right, and before we look at the winners here, just so a lot of students think mutation means it's going to be bad. Mutations can be what are called silent. They can actually, our genetic code is made to withstand changes that don't affect our proteins and our traits. It's called wobble in this third base. So I'm not going to get into the genetics of it in this class. You'll get that in AP Bio. But there are other mutations that can cause bad things, but there's also mutations that could cause good things. So it's any change. Let's see who our winners are. They are, so we got Carly, Dominic, Maggie, Tegan, and Ann. Nice job. All right, it is 12:04. So I just want to go back briefly and make sure that we all know what is due and what's going on for this week by Sunday. Go to your week at a glance. If you have any questions after class today about this modes web work, I would like to know how long it's taking you. Some of you have already turned it in. I know I went and looked at them. So before you leave and check out, if you could just type in your chat box If you have already finished this, how long did it take you? Okay, so how many minutes is it taking you to finish this speciation web worksheet that's due Sunday? Mason, that is not true. I already checked with first period and they did not say 200 minutes. Yeah, I've heard about 30 minutes. Okay, awesome. So you guys have a great weekend. Do not do drugs. Do not drink and drive. Don't smoke, especially if you're pregnant. And wear your sunscreen and your face mask. Don't get pregnant. That was Selena. I was just reading my chat box.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye.
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 I have a quick question about the book